Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to discuss why growing and scaling your business is extremely important. As we're wrapping up this entire series, where we look at how do we ultimately take a business from that inception, that idea, and really start growing it. And that's what we're focusing in on today, because let's face it, what is the point of going into business for yourself if you are unable to grow it and scale it so you can increase its profitability? So when you look at a business, there's only three ways to really grow it. No matter how you look at it, it comes down to just these three things. And that's acquire new customers, increase the volume or the number of items you sell to each customer, or ultimately increase the frequency or how often someone buys from you. That's it. No matter how many ways people try to spend it, it's just these three things. Because if you look at it, think about when you go to the grocery store. You know, they want to entice you with sales, things to come in, and then their goal is to get you to buy as much as you can. But of course, you know, they have more sales, so you come back over and over. And those embody those three principles. And for any business in today's world, it is important to incorporate each one of these so that you thrive. However, in a large number of businesses today, the vast majority of effort, and sometimes the only effort, is placed on acquiring new customers. And yes, this has to be at the core of any business as is wanting to grow and scale, because without getting that new lifeblood in there, well, it's kind of hard to say that you're in business if you're just volunteering for yourself. That doesn't really help you do anything, and you can't raise the funds to build infrastructure and get the tools and resources you need to grow your business. So this has to be the first thing that you focus in on. However, when it comes to attracting customers, there's not a one-size-fits-all. And often you might see ads on Facebook or people saying, oh, I have the one type of marketing strategy that's going to work for everybody, guaranteed. Let me tell you something. It doesn't exist, because every business is unique in one capacity or another. Now, granted, marketing will work for any business, but sometimes the exact way you go about doing it is slightly different. Let me give you a couple examples here, because it all revolves around the level of trust that you need. So let's just say that you have a pizza restaurant, or let's say a restaurant in general. Now, what you can do in terms of advertising that, you have some flexibility compared to others, and I'll give you a couple examples there. So with a restaurant, let's say it's a pizza place, they are able to do something like just putting an ad out on Facebook saying, hey, it's 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. Come in and buy one pizza for $10, get the second for $5, whatever type of special it is. And it doesn't take a whole lot of incentive to acquire that customer, because guess what? Buying food in that instance, it's a low trust value. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'd love to try that. Because if it doesn't really taste all that great, and you don't like it, someone's out, $10, $15? Not a big deal when you think about it from that perspective. Now, let's compare this to someone, let's say they're in financial services. They're not going to just put out one single ad where someone says, hey, I can help make you more money. No, because the trust factor is a whole lot higher. So the strategy to get somebody to say yes is a little bit different, and there's more involved. So that's why there's not a one-size-fits-all. Does it mean that you can't use some of the same strategies? No, but it just means that you have to look at what's going to work best for your business, because the journey to get someone from being a prospect to a raving fan can be a little bit longer. Someone in the pizza place, all it takes is one bite, like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, I've got to tell everybody. Done. Versus someone in the financial services industry, they're like, so what makes you different than the other 1,000 people that want my business? That's what you have to look at, is the level of trust to get from the initial meeting to the yes. So this was one of those little components there. And just to put in perspective, for some businesses, in this process, you can use Facebook social media channels to gain customers. But on others, you might be using Google. And in previous episodes, what I've used as an analogy here is this. Imagine it's 3 a.m. and your toilet is doing things that it should not be doing. You're not going to go into Facebook at that time, start asking around your friends and waiting for an ad to come up saying, hey, who knows a great plumber that's up at 3 in the morning that can help me with this, while your whole home is flooding with stuff. No, you're not doing that. You're going straight to Google, you're typing in emergency plumber, 24-hour plumber, something like that, and you're calling whoever comes up first. That's it. So the way that we go about doing things is a little bit different. It's depending on the problem, the type of business. So that's why you want to make sure when you're acquiring customers, it's in the way that's going to be best suited for your business. Now, I want you to keep in mind that acquiring new customers, this is the most expensive aspect of marketing. Think of it this way, if you're using a dating analogy. It is a lot easier to get a second date from someone than it is the first one because you already know them. So, as I'm a guy here, if I'm asking a woman out, like, as you say, hey, let's go out, for dinner next Tuesday. I loved last Friday. He's like, yeah, sure, done. Didn't take much effort. However, if you're not dating someone, well, then you have to go through that process of meeting the right woman and so on, and eventually get it there. So things change quite a bit to get to that point. That's why selling to somebody the second, third, fourth, fifth time is so much easier. So when you're doing this, it comes down to relationship, because this goes hand in hand with not just how often they come and buy from you, but the frequency in terms of let's say how much they're buying from you. Because if you're only selling $1 product, well, you want them to buy as many of that every single time as you can. So this is how you have to start shifting that perspective. Once you have that client, what can you be doing in your business to make them come back to you more often and buy from you more each time they come to you? So in that aspect, it comes down to, how do you build the relationship? What is it that you can be doing that your competitors are not? And a great example of this is, think about the last time you bought a car from a dealership out there. When was the last time you heard from them? Sure, you might hear from them in the beginning where they're just checking to say, oh, hey, how's it going? But then that's it. But people do buy cars, every couple of years. Some people almost every year. It just depends. But so many businesses, they don't do that. So think about the number of times you've done business with somebody and they don't reach out to you after that. That's a golden opportunity. So when you look at your business, what can you be doing to encourage them to buy from you on a regular basis or increase it? Now, granted, in some industries, it's going to be a little bit different. Let's just say in real estate. Someone's not going to be buying a home every couple months, but you want to maintain that relationship for one simple reason. While they might not be doing it, someone in their sphere of influence might be. So that's why you want to maintain that relationship. So still that lifetime value of that customer, and that's what we're going to talk about next, increases because they have people that they're going to refer to you, because you paid for, guess what, get that first person in. Now you're getting access to their network of people. So the lifetime value, as I just mentioned that, what that is what is the value that's associated with in terms of revenue, profit, and so forth for each customer. It's a little bit different based on a particular business of how long they typically will be within your business, your lifeline and such. Because, let's just say that someone buys a particular product once every 10 years. Well, it's a little bit different. Like, let's say braces. You're not getting them every day. So that value is pretty up front. So you have to look at, well, what can you do to increase that value? So let's use this as an example. So someone's going to, the lifetime value, let's say it's going to be $4,000 potentially. And instead of, say, regular braces, we're looking at Invisalign and other little things. And so you're thinking, well, how can you increase that? And then maintenance plans and so forth. So every business, you have to look at how can you increase that overall revenue per client in this aspect so that lifetime value increases. Because if your competitors are not focusing on increasing the relationship, guess what happens? That lifetime value is pretty short and simple. So going back to the original example of, let's say a pizza place, if someone doesn't focus on building that relationship, and that could be done with phone calls, social media, emails, you name it, well, they might only make that initial $10 to $15 sale, and that's it. But if they do things to keep pulling them back in through various marketing strategies for email, phone calls, text, you name it, that value of that customer can go from $15 to, let's say, over a period of 2 years, let's say $1,500. Which of the two would you want, knowing that if you could keep one customer there in over a 2-year period of time where it's $1,500, it becomes a no-brainer, because then you're not having to do anything additional to win that customer over. You're just maintaining a relationship at that point. So that's what you need to be thinking about in your business. How can you increase the value you're providing so it becomes an automatic yes whenever you make an offer to them? And ultimately, this is the fastest way to grow your business, because when you do that, instead of you having to work with more customers, you're focusing on the quality of the customer, so that they're doing more and more business with you each and every month, and that's what makes a difference. So when you're going to communicate them, you want to make sure that you know which type of communication medium they prefer, because some people, getting them on the phone, forget it, it's not going to happen. But you send them a text, oh, they'll respond in 30 seconds. Some people, it's going to be email. Some people, it's going to be using Messenger on Facebook. You want to know which of the following is going to be the best way to connect with your particular audience, and then maximize it consistently day in and day out. Because when you focus on building the relationship first, and not necessarily pushing out a product, they're going to remember that, and they're going to want to do business with you over and over. But I'm not saying don't ever sell them. You must sell to people to make your business grow, but you want to put that focus on providing value, something that they're going to benefit from, which inspires them to say yes to whatever you put in front of them on a day-to-day basis. So with that, we're closing this series up because I wanted you to be able to see how you can leverage these concepts to grow your business. So I want you to keep that in mind and look for ways that you are able to attract those customers, and then ask yourself that single question: what do you need to be doing for them to say yes to you more often, and for them to buy more from you each and every time they say yes? So go out there and implement these things in your business so you can make it a prosperous year in your business.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.